All right, so today we're going to talk about a company that started with a pretty simple idea to organize all the information in the world. But somehow, along the way, it ended up trying to reinvent transportation, healthcare, and maybe even aging itself. Yep, this is the story of Alphabet.
So let's just dive right in, right? The big question is, how on earth did a simple search box become this multi-trillion-dollar giant that's building self-driving cars and, get this, funding research to solve death? It's an incredible story of ambition, super smart strategy, and just relentless growth.
To really get what Alphabet is today, we have to go way back to the beginning. And we're not talking about some fancy corporate campus. We're talking about a garage. A garage in Menlo Park, California, where a couple of Stanford PhD students had an idea that would literally change the world.
Man, Google's first decade was just a masterclass in how to grow. It all kicks off in 1998, they go public in 2004, and that's when the rocket fuel really gets injected. Then came these brilliant moves, snapping up YouTube in 2006 to own online video, and then launching Android in 2008, which made sure they dominated not just your desktop, but the phone in your pocket too.
And this quote right here, this is the key. They put this in their original letter to investors. It's the philosophy that explains everything that came next. This was never just about building a better search engine. It was always about building a company that could do big, important, and sometimes kind of weird things.
So fast forward to 2015, and Google is, well, it's a bit of a mess. It's not just search anymore. You've got self-driving cars, life sciences, all this crazy stuff under one roof. So you have this massive, money-making ad business mixed in with a high-risk research lab. That confusion led to the biggest change in the company's history. So what was the solution to all this complexity? They decided to restructure as a holding company. And you know who they got the idea from? One of the most famous investors of all time, Warren Buffett. They basically borrowed the model he uses for his company, Berkshire Hathaway. And the change was absolutely fundamental. Think about it. Before 2015, everything was just crammed together under the Google umbrella. The new structure created Alphabet, this new parent company. Google became its own massive, super profitable subsidiary, and all those other wild projects got spun out into their own companies, which they called Other Bets. And look, this wasn't just about changing the name on the door. It was a really strategic move. It gave investors a much clearer look at the finances, it made each individual project more accountable, and, this is the big one, it freed up those moonshot projects to go be innovative and crazy without having to worry about the main advertising business's quarterly profits. Okay, so that brings us to today. Let's look at how this whole structure powers the Alphabet of right now. Because, they've gone through another huge shift, one that's probably just as important as creating Alphabet in the first place.
For years and years, the big phrase in tech was mobile first. Everything had to work perfectly on your phone. Well, today, the new foundation is AI first. And that means AI isn't just some cool feature, it is the absolute core of everything they do. You know when Google search practically answers your question before you're done typing? Or how YouTube just knows what video you want to watch next? Yep, that's AI doing its thing.
And if you follow the money, the story becomes crystal clear. Even with all these different ventures, more than 90% of Alphabet's revenue still comes from those core Google services. We're talking search, ads, Android, and YouTube. This is the gigantic economic engine that pays for everything else. $85 billion. Just let that sink in. That's what they're projected to spend on capital expenditures in 2025. And a massive piece of that pie is going directly into building the data centers and the special computer chips they need for this AI-first future.
And all that cash, that's what lets Alphabet fund its other bets. These are the ambitious, long-term, super high-risk but potentially high-reward projects that are trying to create brand new industries out of thin air.
And this is where things get really futuristic. We're talking about self-driving cars with Waymo, tackling the biology of aging with Calico. These are the bets they're placing on the future, trying to solve some of the hardest problems out there.
So let's zoom in on one of these for a second, Waymo. Because out of all the other bets, Waymo is definitely the one that's further along. It's moved way past being just a science project and is now a real-world business.
500,000. Get this. That's how many paid, fully driverless rides Waymo was providing per week across its cities by early 2026. This isn't some tiny little test anymore. This is a real commercial service operating at a massive scale.
And they're not just sticking to easy-to-drive cities in the US either. The company has gone international.
They've taken on one of the most difficult, chaotic driving environments you can imagine, London. Talk about a challenge.
But it's not just about self-driving cars, not by a long shot. Alphabet is pushing hard in other really deep tech areas. They've hit some huge milestones in quantum computing, which could just unlock insane amounts of processing power. They're also becoming a huge player in providing AI tools for other companies to use, and Verily is applying AI to healthcare. This is the foundation for their next few decades of growth.
So this kind of brings us full circle, back to that first question. The company started out trying to organize information. Now it's building the technology that could completely reinvent how we get around, how we manage our health, and maybe even our own intelligence. It really makes you wonder, what's the next monumental problem this tech titan is going to try and solve?